Hello, my name is Kyle Quillen, and this is a series on how to program in Java, specifically using JGrasp. In this video series, I'll be walking through a general idea of what an IDE is, what sequencing, selection, and iteration is, and where you can go after learning the concepts you've learned in this video. So in this first video today, I'll be showing you what an IDE is and basically the really basics to how you can use an IDE. So very first, an IDE stands for Integrated Development Environment, which basically means it is a program where you can make programs. As you can see, we have JGrasp open. This is for the language Java, as I mentioned earlier. And there's a couple main sections you should focus on. The center section right here is the text editor. This is where you put in text to make your program. If you want to open a new file, you can go to File, New, Java, and then right here you can just type in your program. Down here is the interactions menu. This will show you inputs and outputs. If you learn how to use a scanner, which I would highly recommend looking into because it allows you to put in input through your system and it outputs, or it can do outputs too by writing files. You can also use this to check code before you put it in here. This is really good later on when I mention data types, because you can look into how integer division works. Say 9 divided by 2, if you notice the answer is 4, not 4.5, and that's because numbers work weird in programming languages, and you can kind of test out to make sure your output will be exactly what you want. Over here to the left, we have your files. You can go over here and set where your files are. Just pick a spot on your desktop that makes it easy to find them, and I would recommend organizing them by folders. As you can see, when you make a Java file, there's two different types, a .java and a .class. It's important to make sure you have both of these, but really the file that you open is the .java. And the last thing is this toolbar up here. There's some other things like a debug menu. These are more complicated things that aren't necessary at this level. I would recommend looking into a more detailed guide that breaks down how to use the debug menu and the cool little things you can do with a IDE. I would recommend going over here to settings, CSD window settings, and then turning on line numbers. It'll just make it easier for you to see where your code is, and down here, if it throws an error, it'll tell you what line it's on. So then now you can check what line that will be on. And up here is how, just like any other program, how you can make new files. Really, there's a lot up here. I would recommend just looking through this. Really, it's not too complicated. It's just basically a program to make programs. So it's mostly the text editors which you're going to be focused on. 3 key combinations you should know and memorize, especially for JGrasp. It differs depending on the IDE. Is Control S to save, Control B to compile, and Control R to run. These I will mention more in depth when we go through our first program. And also understand that all IDEs are different. There's different reasons to use different ones. JGrasp is just a very beginner-friendly one because it doesn't hold your hand and allows you to notice your mistakes early on so you don't make repeated mistakes later on when you start programming more complicated things. And that's all about IDEs that is important right now. For the next video, I'll be showing you the concept of sequencing, and I'll see you then.